All right, guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay Will. So I got the a Ulefone Power 3 here, and this is the phone that I was talking about. I got it I've been using it for about 4 days now. So the 6,080 milliamp hour battery obviously is still going. I'm on about 52% 4 days later. So, and disclaimer, I wasn't using this as like a #1 slot. It was like in my #3 slot. But I still use it. So I tested out the camera some more. I played with the software some more. Lots of YouTube and things like that. Didn't install a lot of apps on here, but still, you know, this phone has 6 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs onboard storage, so it's definitely a powerhouse phone when it comes to some specs. Now, it does have that MediaTek processor in there, clocked at 2 gigahertz. Some of the MediaTek processors that are clocked below 2.5 tend to stutter or lag a little bit, but this one, I haven't really had any issues with it, I guess. It's just using it regularly and just using it as a device that I make phone calls on, and I try to use it as a regular consumer with lots of YouTube and lots of social media and phone calls and lots of texts and emails and things like that. And that's how I've been testing a lot of the phones that I get in lately. But this phone right here actually is doing very well. Hardware on this thing, again, it has dual cameras on the rear, dual cameras on the front, a fingerprint reader, dual tone LED flash. It has a LED flash on the front as well. It's got Type-C. It's got a bottom firing speaker down there with a microphone down there. SD card slot with the 64 gigs onboard storage. A little bit of branding. So let me start with some of the things that I just don't like it for some reason about this phone. The first thing is the way it feels. Now, this is a soft touch matte, and I'm normally excited about a soft touch matte device. But this one, in my opinion, as you can see, it gets oily really easy. And disclaimer, this is all subjective. You can disagree or agree, whatever. This is just things that I've noticed. I just have a little bit of lotion on my hands, and even without the lotion, the phone seems to grab a lot of oils. I don't know if it's just the material of this soft touch matte. I don't know. But it still, it's okay. You can throw it. It does come with a case. I don't like to use a case if I don't have to. But that's something that I noticed. It picks up fingerprints really easy. And it's I guess I shouldn't say I hate it, but it's just kind of annoying at times having to get out a cloth or something and kind of clean it up or make it look a little better. Then I have to use it right again. It doesn't really come off that easy. So one thing I've noticed is that that's something that's, again, very minor. Just had to point it out, though. Sometimes little small things can really annoy you. And I know you guys can see the fingerprints that are mounting on this thing. Another thing, speaking of fingerprints, the fingerprint reader is actually pretty good when it works. So sometimes you can see how slow it is or how fast it is, whichever you want to rate it at. You can kind of see how when I touch it, let it go. Maybe that's about, what, 1 second or so, 2 seconds, 1.5 seconds. But the fact that it has a fingerprint reader is something to jump up and down about. I just don't complain too much about fingerprint readers being kind of slow if they have one. So this one is no exception. It has one. It has some specs of flagship, quote unquote, flagship phones, but it's sub $200 or so, $230 or whatever this phone costs. You see the link in the description. Be sure to check yours out, depending on what country you're in. Grab you one of these if you're interested. Now, in the US, I always tell people in the unboxing videos, which I've done for this one, this won't grab LTE in the US, but I did grab 3G for a second. So it really depends on where you are. For some reason, I grabbed 3G for a second, and that was on T-Mobile. And I was like, whoa. But you guys know in my office, if a phone doesn't have a really strong signal, it's probably not going to get LTE or 3G. And this one grabbed 3G right here in my office, and I was kind of surprised. So I was like, well, okay, well, maybe it does pick up 3G. Totally shocked me. I don't even see the bands listed for having 3G. The 1900 band, I don't even see that one at all. But it's on the 2G version, the 2G bands for GSM. But as far as the LTE or 3G, I don't see it listed. But it did pick up 3G for a little while. And I was like, whoa, okay, so cool. But how's the phone been regularly? Obviously, it makes phone calls very well. No problem with drop calls on the networks that I've tried it on. T-Mobile, AT&T, Cricket. Everything's going to work really fine. Text messaging and everything is good. Speaker on here is, kind of hollow, like some of these phones that I get in. But that's subjective, too, because you could like that sound. I would prefer a tintier sound. It's like it's trying to give bass and mids and highs all jammed together. So you could change it over to mono if you wanted to and see how that sounds. But this doesn't have a stereo speaker setup, by the way. I was just saying, in the settings, you can change from stereo to mono. I don't know if that would work at all or if that's going to make a difference. But I didn't try it. I just kind of listened to it as is. I mean, I don't tweak the phones too much. But all in all, Good sounding speaker, very loud, and it's definitely going to be good for YouTube and all kind of videos that you watch. The 18:9 ratio on these phones is growing very popular. I have several phones in this 18:9 ratio, and I'm happy to say that this 1080p display is actually really good. You can get full screen by hiding the navigation bars if you want to. You just swipe up to bring them back, and then there they are. So that's something you can actually change those keys around too. But it's up to you what you want to do with this big display. I say definitely one thing that I'm not too big of a fan of is the fact that it has these dual cameras and they're not really taking advantage of what they could take advantage of as far as like putting the power down. So it has these dual and I know that these phones cost $220 or so. Most of them cost $200. It's good for what it is, but sometimes, as listed, you think that it's going to be a certain way. Now that's a crystal clear photo, but the focusing on it is something that takes a while. Now I'm being really nitpicky because I get a lot of these phones in, and some of the phones focus really fast. Like, and I say these phones, I mean phones that are from GearBest that are $200 or so that are not meant to work in the US. This one focuses a little slower. However, that camera on the back is really, really good. Really good. Now I was going to shoot a intro for this video with the front camera, but I thought, you know what, I'll just do a one-take Jake and put this up because this is just a quick update video. Nonetheless, you know, little nitpicky in this video, but still, this phone is still worth $200. I mean, the hardware alone is good. The battery life of 6,080, I'm still on 52% 4 days later. And I gave a disclaimer letting you know I wasn't using this as like my #1 slot. It was my #3 seed. But still, I still use it like a lot. Everyone's calling this phone. Everyone's texting this phone. Videos are done on this phone, like, you know, YouTube and stuff, just so I can preserve battery on other phones. So I guess I kind of use it in the 2.5 slot. But nonetheless, this is a good phone. One thing I wish I could do is give some of these phones to other YouTubers and have them review them and get their honest opinion on it. Because some of these phones, I really like them. And I think other YouTubers would like them too. So I'll tell you what, if you're a YouTuber and you have less than 10,000 subscribers, I hope you're watching this video because I'll give you an opportunity, and I'm gonna start giving these phones away to YouTubers. If you're a tech reviewer and you have less than 10,000 subscribers, I want to start hooking you up and giving you some of these phones that I get from GearBest. Because when I tell you, I've got some good ones here. This is another great one from Ulefone. This actually has LTE in the US, and I've got 3 or 4 more. They're stacked up over there that I'm going to be doing giveaways for. But I want to start giving some of these phones to tech YouTubers and getting their opinion on it versus my opinion. So this phone is really good though, and it's worth $200 to me. So leave a comment down below if you're in another country. If you're in the US, you can still buy this phone. You just know that you won't get LTE. You'll have to be on Wi-Fi when it comes to your high-speed data. But other than that, everything else works. You pop your SIM card in there, and it'll start to work for you. So it's your man Jay Will, Ulefone Power 3. Quick update. It's a pretty solid phone so far.